Good morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to present an interesting protocol called the Concrete Protocol. Well, there are so many protocols. This protocol is actually a DeFi protocol. So in other words, you can borrow or you can lend money or invest tokens through this protocol. And so it's a blockchain protocol which enhances DeFi users. It's able to do a lot of protection for leverage position. It can offer different yield opportunity for liquidity providers, and then it's going to improve the efficiency. For example, you can balance between different strategy. So quite a few features over here. The main feature is it's using a multi-strategy through 4626. All of them satisfy this 4626 standard, which support deposit, withdraw, mint, redeem for functions mainly. So this is what the architecture look like, but don't worry about the detail. Just worry about the concrete multi-strategy vault right now. As you can see over here, each vault might have a different strategy. I have protect strategy, I have strategy 2, strategy 3. So let's just focus on what the concrete multi-strategy vault look like in this presentation. Okay, so let's look at the source code right over here. This is concrete multi-strategy vault. First of all, it's a standard 4626 vault. So that means it's going to support for function with your deposit, mint, and redeem. Essentially, it's deposit withdraw, right? The other is just variant. So you can deposit asset into the vault, and then you are going to get a shares back from the vault over here. So let's go through this function sequentially. First of all, it's going to support one vault, which is another 4626 protocol. So the vault is the protected strategy is the first vault, okay? But we don't call vault, we just call strategy because it's special kinds of vault which give you investment. Consider this is like for investment. You put your asset there, they are going to give you some return. So so this is modifier to make sure it's only protectable vault. Let's look at the main thing first. First of all, let's look at a standard. So if you deposit an asset over here, the deposit actually is going to be not only depositing into the vault, but actually it's going to be distributed to all the strategy underneath. Okay, so let's see how that's done. So deposit is going to call the deposit is going to return deposit as a MSG manager. So this is going to be the receiver. So this is just a wrapper for this one. So this is calling the receiver. The first thing you do is you're going to validate and update timestamp. So this is a protection for first depositor. 4626 is very subject to the so-called first deposit attack. So a few mechanism is in place right now, trying to ensure this kind of thing is going to happen. So validate and update deposit timestamp. First of all, it's going to check the first depositor is going to be the receiver is not 0. And then if total supply is equal to 0, means you are first depositor, then you update feeds updated. So this is important because you don't want to retroactively collect the fee even you don't have any depositor. When there's no depositor, you don't collect the fees. So this means you collect the fee from this point, from the depositor time point. Okay, so that's one prevention. The second prevention is you also write down when the first deposit is I don't know why this could be popping up. And then you can also have a flag called first deposit write down. Let's see why they need this. Okay, it's just remember time step. I don't see anywhere it's used, but anyway. So let's go back to deposit. So that's a verification for over here. And then second one is this is all standard. We do not allow the asset you want to deposit is greater than the max deposit. I don't know if they implement themselves or it's just inheritance. Okay, and then the amount you deposit cannot greater than this. This is deposit amount. This is a limit set in the, I believe it's in the constructor, in the initialization. You set this so you cannot deposit too much. And then the one thing they are going to calculate fee share, which is the deposit fee, and then it's a percentage. So you divide by the max basis points. Typically, this is 10,000. So basically, what's the percentage you have to pay for the fee? Okay. And then this is going to be converted to shares, of course, because what it's going to do is it's going to give some shares to the collector, fee collector. So you convert these to the share, all the asset to the share, but you have to minus the fee shares that belong to the protocol fee collector. And then if the shares that are given to the user is smaller than dust, and this dust is actually a very small number, then we don't allow it. So this is like a minimum check. And if the fee share is greater than that, then we collect we main the fee shares to the fee recipient, and then the remaining shares is going to main to the real receiver. In this case, could be the caller. And then you transfer the whole amount of asset. Let's say, what's your favorite asset? Let's give an example. Okay, let's say it's Rapid Ethereum. Okay, we just try to stand up. Rapid Ethereum is the asset. You send Rapid Ethereum here, Rapid ETH here. And then if the wallet is not idle, means you are going to actually do the deposit, and the real deposit going to deposit to different strategy vault. So you iterate through all the strategies. Each strategy is actually a vault, so it also supports the standard deposit function with the asset. The asset so they share the same asset basically. They all use that Rapid ETH right now, and then you have to deposit by the percentage. So this is the amount divided by 10,000 is a percentage. So all deposit. It's possible that not all the asset from the user is going to be depositing all the strategy, but that's okay. It's going to just remain in the multi-strategy vault. So that's for the deposit. Let's look at mint. It's similar. Mint is actually also deposit, just instead of using the asset as argument, using shares. So that's this is saying. So you have to check in terms of deposit fee. The formula is a little bit sophisticated than the original one, but if you work out the math, you should agree that these will give you shares you need to burn. So because you have to pay the fee, and you need to get this number of shares, you actually need to burn more shares basically. Okay, so this is the amount of shares we have to burn, and then minus the shares. So this is going to be the fee shares paid to the fee collector. And then based on the total share, which is going to be more than the shares you need because you have to pay the fee, and then we get the asset. If the asset is greater than max mint, then it's not going to be allowed. Let me check this. I will just write down why this is not deposit. Okay. Zero, because over here, I think we use what do we use over here? Yeah, we are checking deposit limit. So, and we're also checking max deposit. So max deposit and deposit limit over here. So these two should be, in my opinion, should be the same, but it's slightly different. And I didn't check the deposit limit either. So that might be an omission. So the fee shares greater than zero, then you main the fee shares to the fee recipient, and otherwise we are going to burn the shares, and then we burn. Oh, I'm sorry, and then we mint this share to the user, this fee recipient to the fee collector, and then we transfer the total asset over here. So if the vault is idle, then we just doing the same thing, okay, like we did before. Redeem is just the opposite. You giving the number of shares you want to redeem, and then this is just a receiver, this is just owner, I believe. Yeah, receiver and owner. So you just doing a bunch of check, make sure the max redeem constraint is satisfied, and then you calculate the fee shares. The fee share is simply you redeem so many shares, but you're actually not going to get so many shares. So this is the fee shares over here. So the number of shares really receive this amount, we convert to asset. And then we are going to call withdraw asset this. This is simply say you're going to burn so many shares, but you only get this amount of asset, which is corresponding to this. And then you have to mint this number of share to the fee collector. So let's go down there. Withdraw is similar. Both of them is going to call the same withdraw later. So let's just go to this wrapper. Here the argument is assets. In the same way, so this is comparing instead of the max withdraw, we compare to max withdraw because this is asset. And then we convert to shares because this is the amount of asset we are going to withdraw, and then you convert to shares. And then these shares has to be greater than the dust. Some of them will go to the collective, the protocol. So we calculate withdrawal fee, and then if the fee recipient is not the MSG sender, I don't know why they need to check this. So this simply means they don't charge because the withdrawal guy is going to be fee recipient too sometimes. So you want to make sure the fee recipient doesn't have to pay for it, so that they have a fee share 0. So basically, it's a check. If the caller is a fee recipient, we don't charge you a fee. It's going to be 0. Otherwise, we're going to charge you the fee shares. So this is going to be fee shares over here. And then let me think about this for a little while. Yes. So fee shares basically means you have to burn more. I'm sorry. Yes, you have to burn more shares in order to get this amount of assets. Okay. Because the argument is that you need to get so much assets. So basically, you need to burn more. So this is withdraw fees shares. If you are going to get this amount of asset, this is the amount of shares we have to burn, but now with the fee, we need to burn more fee shares. Okay, so that means so the shares will be more now. Okay, so that's correct. Okay, so you're going to look at only this amount of asset, but you're going to burn more shares, right? So that's why shares larger, because some part of the share is going to go to the is going to go to the fee collector. Okay, so I think it's correct. Okay, you receive less assets, but you burn more shares, and that's the main thing we have to worry about. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next one. Now this one is probably it's easier now. You're going to get this amount of asset. You have to burn this amount of shares, and then this amount of shares is going to be minted, and these shares already contain the fee shares. First of all, you're going to check if the caller is the owner or not. If the caller is not owner, we have to use allowance. So this simply set the new allowance to this value, which is going to be the original allowance minus the shares, because that's how much you have to burn by the contract. So this is the amount you burn, and then this amount we mint the free assignment. Now we're going to do the real withdrawal. The first thing you're going to do is you can check how much asset is available to withdraw. So let's look at this function. It's easy. You just check the balance of you have to be careful. You're checking the asset balance, not the share balance. Okay, so the asset balance check. And then in addition, we are going to call a function for every strategy. Every strategy needs to provide an interface called get available asset for withdrawal. So this will give you how much asset is actually stored in every single strategy, and it's available for withdrawal. So you add all these numbers together, then will give you some idea that this is how much asset we can withdraw. If we have a sufficient asset to withdraw, if this greater than this, then we simply withdraw strategy funds, which is basically first of all check the balance and see if we have a sufficient balance here already to honor the withdrawal. If not, we have to withdraw from the underlying strategy first. Okay, so that's what we are doing over here. So if we are sufficient, we just transfer it. We are done. Otherwise, we have to calculate what is the deficit. And then using the deficit, we iterate through all of the strategy. And from each strategy, we also trying to withdraw proportionally. And then by proportionally, we mean we use the amount to withdraw. The amount to withdraw is decided by the allocation percentage. Okay, if this guy is 20%, you are going to 10% deficit have to come from here, and so on and so forth. And of course, before you do that, you have to make sure, really make sure how much is available for withdrawal from every strategy over here. Okay, based on what? Based on the preview redeem. So I'm not sure why they are not using the available to withdraw method. Instead, they're using the preview redeem method over here. But I think maybe both of them will work. But anyway, the idea is go through each strategy, withdraw, and then if we have a sufficient amount of, if we have a sufficient in a balance, then this will send over the remaining asset from the multi-strategy fund. Okay, so that's the withdraw funds. So this is the case that when we have sufficient asset, either from the multi-strategy vault or from different strategy vault. Otherwise, we have to, if we don't have it, this is a new feature for this multi-strategy vault. I think this new feature is they have a so-called withdraw queue. That means the transaction is going to succeed, withdrawal is going to succeed, but the real money is going to be delayed. And that delay is going to be in a queue, withdraw queue. So right here in the withdraw queue, they are going to put you into a queue. Okay, just imagine you have a queue. And then okay, withdraw queue. You're going to generate ID, and every time the ID is going to increase by 1. And then, interestingly, they don't just put how much you're going to withdraw right here. They put an accumulated amount. In other words, every time you withdraw $100, the next one you withdraw $200, then you're going to have $300. Now you're going to withdraw $500, then it's $800. So this is the last number, a total. Basically, so this is the number of a total of withdraw in the whole queue. So it's interesting. This is the structure. You don't need to look at the all the queue. I think this is make it easier to calculate what is the total amount of withdrawal for all the requests in the queue. You don't need to iterate through everyone to calculate it. Yeah, but I don't know why they have to use this structure. Why not just declare a global variable to do it? But anyway, this is how they do it. Then you push into it, and then you're going to make sure create an index for indexed by the recipient. So you're going to put this request ID over here, so it's going to be easy to look up all the requests for a particular person. Okay, easier fetch over here. So once we put in the queue, then the next question is when are we going to receive the real money later, real asset later? We will talk about that later. Okay. I think we already talked about this one, so we're going to just skip it. This is where you can withdraw funds from different strategy. Now, this is the thing they do it. It's called batch claim, I believe. Yes, batch claim withdraw is only called by owners. The owner is going to call this guy and trying to claim the withdrawal. So what do? You are going to specify an argument over here, means how many requests you want to accommodate right now. So first of all, you check if there's a queue. If not, you don't call this function. Secondly, you are going to call get available with asset for withdraw. We already look at this function. Basically, check the balance of this multi-strategy vault, and then also check all the balance, all with available withdraw from all the strategy, and then you add all of them together, and then you're able to call the withdraw queue. There's a method called get last finalized QID. So this basically get a tail. There are two tail. One is the finalized one, means they already claimed money, and the other one is they already made the request. So this is the first tail, and this is the second tail. Okay, so this first tail tells us this is the last finalized ID, last request that's claimed. This one probably is not claimed yet, or could it be claimed? We don't know. And then we want to say the new last finalized one should be. And they cache this, so because this might be changed, and then we are going to calculate how many requests we can really make. Okay, so the way they do it is they check to compare these two tails. Okay, there are two cases. They compare this one plus the max request from argument. And see if this max request is too big, right? If it's too big, that means you can only finalize up to the second tail, which is the last create ID, which is the last request ID not made. Otherwise, we are going to the last one is going to be the last finalize it, last request ID plus the number of requests we ask from the user. So, for example, let's say max request is 3, and then this is the last one is 100. Then you're going to the last final ID will be 103. So you iterate through all of these requests one by one, and then you just call claim withdrawal. Okay, let's look at what claim withdrawal is doing. So it's actually going to call the prepare withdraw function with the input of request ID, which means which request you're going to claim, and then available assets, which means how much assets still available now. Initially is all the asset from the vault and the strategies calculated all of them up. But now each claim is going to deduct this. So supposedly you are going to have less available assets after the call. Let's look at how this one is doing. This guy is going to do is going to prepare withdraw, take the original available assets, and then trying to check if this request ID is already too big. If it's too big, that means it's illegal, then we revert. Otherwise, we check if it's already claimed. If it's already claimed, we are not going to order again. And then in order to calculate the amount, because the argument doesn't give you an amount, we have to calculate the amount from the queue, whereas we have to retrieve the previous request. The real amount is actually the new cumulative amount minus the old one. So let's say the old one is 100, and then you request more 30, so the now cumulative is 130. So in order to recover 30, you have to say 130 minus 100. Okay, if we do have remaining available assets big enough, then we are going to calculate new available assets, which is used as the output, return it back over here. So this is considered as a new available assets, and then set the claim to be true, so it cannot double claim it. Okay, and also you try to make sure the remove is successful. It's basically a check that the owner indeed own it. Okay, over here, it's just additional. It's just additional check. I don't think. Where's the owner coming from? Let me. Okay, I see. So that's the recipient. So I think that's very much of it. So basically, you prepare withdraw. The only thing to do is change claim to true, calculate the new request to be minus amount, and then of course the amount is calculated by the difference of the two cumulative amount over here. So once you prepare that, the next step is now you really need to get the funding because some of the funding is not available. So there's a comparison over here. In other words, you compare if they're equal. If they're equal, that means this fail. Okay. How do we know? Fail doesn't mean revert. Never revert over here. Means the amount is not sufficient. Available asset is not sufficient anymore. So in that case, don't bother to withdraw strategy from funds because even withdraw, you don't have sufficient funds to withdraw anyway. So you don't do that. So then you're going to return the new available assets over here. So there are two cases. The new available asset could be equal to the older one, or could be smaller than the older one. Depends on if this function is successful or not. Okay. So that's how claim withdrawal works. I should not say the function is successful or not. The function always successful. Is the claim successful or not? So if the claim is not successful, the function is still successful, but you just don't claim anything. The request is going to stay in the same status. So this is why over here, there's a check over here. If the new available asset is equal to the older one, if that's the case, that means this claim is failed. function succeeded, you don't revert, plain failed, this kind of plain failed. So in this way, then the new last final ID is not going to be choose a new one, it's going to be the old one. So so one more thing, we have one more thing check. If the new last final ID not equal to the last final ID, that means we indeed finalize at least one request. So if that's the case, we are going to change the last final ID by using this. So this function is simply change the new final ID, advance it. So it just over here, okay? There's a bunch of check, but don't worry about it. The most important one is the most important one is this line, okay? Nothing else is important. We simply change the last finalized request ID to be the new last finalized request ID. Okay. So that's how Clean Rewards works. I think that's the main functionality of this protocol. There are other things. Maybe I can also go through that too. Is yeah, I'm not going to talk about it now. It's already have sufficient material. Maybe we can cover that in next presentation. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.